Trade Showdown. Carney's blunders put Canada-US trade deals in danger. The escalating trade tensions between Canada and the United States have reached a critical juncture, leaving many Canadians anxious about their economic future. With Mark Carney now Prime Minister after winning the Liberal Party leadership in March 2025, his administration faces intense scrutiny regarding tariffs, and trade relations with the U.S. President Trump, still in office, has signaled a willingness to impose tariffs that challenge the status quo, raising alarms in Canada. The upcoming federal election on April 28, 2025, further amplifies the urgency of addressing these trade challenges, as the electorate demands clarity and effective strategies to safeguard Canadian interests. Recent discussions have revealed uncomfortable truths about Canada's approach to retaliatory tariffs. The U.S. ambassador's warning that these tariffs could jeopardize the USMCA, United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, has sent shockwaves through political circles. Many Canadians are struggling to understand the implications of this trade policy, especially as both sides seem entrenched in their positions. The core issue stems from President Trump's decision to impose tariffs under U.S. law, bypassing normal trade protections within the USMCA framework. Canada's retaliatory tariffs, which affect goods protected under the agreement, exacerbate the situation, creating a cycle of escalating tensions. The reality is that Canada's aggressive response may weaken its negotiating position, creating uncertainty around trade agreements. Experts suggest that Canada's actions may give the U.S. legitimate concerns, undermining the cooperative spirit the USMCA was meant to foster. The back and forth between the two nations complicates negotiations, making it increasingly difficult to find common ground. As both countries dig in their heels, the prospect of resolution seems distant, leaving industries in both nations vulnerable to the unpredictable consequences of ongoing trade disputes. In an effort to shield Canadian industries from U.S. tariffs, the Carney government has announced substantial subsidies, including a $1.2 billion package for the soft lumber sector. Ontario has followed suit with a $1 billion financing program aimed at protecting workers. While these measures provide immediate relief, questions arise about their long-term sustainability and effectiveness in addressing underlying trade issues. Critics argue that these subsidies are merely a band-aid solution, allowing the government to sidestep necessary reforms while imposing a financial burden on taxpayers. Media coverage has been mixed, with some outlets accusing the U.S. ambassador's statements as exaggerated. However, the nuances indicate that Canada's retaliatory tariffs may violate aspects of the USMCA, giving the U.S. legitimate concerns. This has left Canadians uneasy, particularly as they hear more from American officials than from their own leaders. Transparency and clear communication from the Canadian government are essential to ensure citizens understand the complexities of trade negotiations and build public trust. Beyond immediate trade issues, Canada faces broader geopolitical challenges. China's targeted tariffs on Canadian canola farmers highlight Ottawa's struggle to balance domestic interests with international pressures. China's strategic dominance in minerals and energy underscores Canada's lag in critical infrastructure development. Delays in projects like the Road to the Ring of Fire illustrate Canada's vulnerability to global competition, as China invests heavily in its own infrastructure and resource extraction capabilities. As China aggressively builds its energy and supply chains, Canada risks falling behind, failing to leverage its resources effectively. This complacency in resource management and negotiation tactics could have long-lasting ramifications. Canada's natural resources could be its greatest strength, but only if the country reclaims the initiative and invests in infrastructure and resource development. The potential for growth in sectors like clean energy and critical minerals is immense, requiring a forward-thinking approach that prioritizes long-term planning over short-term fixes. The ongoing trade war has already significantly impacted businesses in both countries. Surveys indicate that companies are delaying or canceling investments due to the uncertainty surrounding tariffs. The automotive industry, in particular, has faced substantial costs, with projections of significant drops in net profits. These economic consequences underscore the urgent need for a resolution to the trade dispute, as the ripple effects of tariffs extend beyond immediate financial concerns, affecting employment, supply chains, and consumer prices. The broader narrative is troubling. Canada appears to mishandle international pressures while mismanaging domestic resources. Opaque negotiations and reliance on subsidies threaten Canadian sovereignty and economic strength. Meanwhile, both China and the U.S. assert their influence, exposing Canada's strategic weaknesses. A decisive and transparent leadership approach is necessary for Canada to navigate these challenges effectively, requiring a comprehensive strategy that encompasses trade, foreign policy, resource management, and economic development. For Canadians, the urgency of the situation cannot be overstated. Trade, infrastructure, and resource policy require decisive leadership. The stakes are high, and anything less than a proactive approach risks long-term consequences. Canada needs to invest in infrastructure, improve efficiencies, and create stable investment environments to sustain growth in an evolving global landscape. A clear vision emphasizing diversification and resilience is crucial for navigating the complexities of modern geopolitics. As the April 2025 snap election approaches, Canadians look for a leader who can effectively navigate these treacherous waters. Carney's performance in addressing these challenges is under intense scrutiny as the nation grapples with trade policies that could shape its economic future. The election results reflect a deeply divided nation, with trade policy central to debates. Voters are increasingly aware of the stakes, and candidates must articulate actionable plans to address pressing trade and economic stability issues. The question remains, will Canada rise to the occasion, adapting to new global trade realities and strengthening competitive advantages, or will it continue to react rather than lead, risking long-term economic consequences? The integrated Canada-US trade relationship is built on mutual dependence, making it essential for Canada to leverage its economic strengths, diversify global partnerships, and invest in long-term industrial resilience. The path forward demands bold leadership, strategic thinking, and a commitment to fostering a robust economy that can withstand the pressures of an evolving global landscape.